Are you a stressed out reseller? You're not alone. As resellers, we're presented with often unique stresses that can cause massive frustration and aggravation, and that many people in traditional jobs are just not faced with. Our friends and family sometimes can't really understand as they generally don't really get what we're even doing to begin with. So let's talk about stress and some better ways to cope with it. Hey everyone, welcome to this special episode of the Galaxy CD's Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. My name is Ryan and I've been a full-time reseller for nearly 6 years now after a long career in retail management. If you're an eBay seller or a reseller anywhere for that matter, you know the thrill of the sale and the excitement of the hunt for that perfect item. But you also know the absolute grind the rest of the job can become. The late nights after a full day at the regular job, long hours listing, photographing, shipping, and the sometimes nasty customers, lowball offers, and isolation that we feel as we often work alone, and sometimes even the feeling that the platforms we sell on are actively working against us. I get you, believe me. So let's discuss something that not many people talk about, the psychological stress of being a reseller. We're talking about the pressure of that seemingly endless grind, dealing with tech that feels sometimes a bit outdated or sometimes doesn't even seem to work properly at all, and navigating a policy regime on a lot of these platforms that seems to favor buyers over sellers. I don't want this to be another video just complaining about the problems. There's plenty of those already here on YouTube. I hope in this episode I can arm you with some strategies both for your business and for your well-being and self-care to turn that stress into, let's call it, a lower stress success. Just a disclaimer, as I often say, I'm just a guy in my basement. I'm a fellow reseller. I'm not a psychologist or a counselor. These tips are things that I've done that I thought you might find useful. But remember, if your stress level seems unnaturally high, this is not the place to find answers or help, and do what you need to do to take care of your mental health. If at some point here in this episode you get something of value, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share it with a fellow reseller, and consider subscribing to the channel. I do a weekly reselling news recap show along with a live show at least once a week so we can get together and share stories and tips. So come and join us. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's start by acknowledging the elephant in the room, the sheer psychological demands of online reselling. Whether you're dealing with unique one-off items, doing retail arbitrage, or selling in bulk, you know it's a constant effort, not just physically, but mentally. It's a seemingly endless to-do list, day after day, week after week, of sourcing, listing, shipping, and managing inventory. Then the constant pressure to grow, list more, to scale, or maybe just meet someone else's expectations for your success can lead to serious burnout. YouTube and Instagram resellers can often make this all look far too easy, and let's be honest, who hasn't compared themselves to that one seller who seemingly effortlessly closes hundreds or even thousands of transactions a month? It's easy to feel inadequate. But remember, you rarely see the full picture. They might have huge teams behind them or even be operating at a loss, and as I've mentioned on this channel on numerous occasions, comparison is the thief of joy. We'd all do well to remember the unseen and unknown things going on behind the scenes when watching those other sellers. But that's not all. There are difficult customers, the unreasonable demands, the excessive questions, ridiculous offers, the personal attacks in feedback, the return requests, and more. It all adds up. Beyond the visible tasks of listing and shipping, there's this huge amount of what I would call invisible labor. The mental load of managing your unique inventory, the emotional labor of de-escalating customer issues, the constant pressure to grow, and sometimes just to make some sales. This hidden expenditure on top of the actual work can lead to chronic stress and exhaustion. And then there come the technical issues. Many sellers feel eBay's site search is worse than external engines, with suspicions ranging from a poor search algorithm to outright favoritism for some sellers. I've seen it myself, doing comp research and finding nothing on eBay only to go to Google and be shown an eBay listing. Similar complaints have been leveled at Etsy and others, with AI bots having a nasty habit of incorrectly flagging legitimate items as counterfeit, leading to lost sales and wasted time, not to mention the stress of being accused of offering counterfeits. Imagine your perfectly legitimate listing suddenly vanishing and then getting a warning message from the site. No good. Even more critically, these bots may flag multiple issues that might not even be real or escalate seemingly minor situations into account banning situations. Just look at the recent mess over at Poshmark with the excessive listing removal situation, which I did a video on a few weeks ago. Some sellers describe these experiences as ranging from frustrating to totally irrational, and some find themselves stressed to the point of having panic attacks. Beyond that rogue AI, there are just general technical glitches, which we discuss seemingly every week here on the show. Listing templates failing, mobile app crashes, core features like buy it now, make an offer, malfunctioning, pictures failing to load, and so on. And when you try to get help, many people feel that the platform's customer service agents are unhelpful and ineffective, if not outright purposely working against you. They're people who generally can't comprehend the problems, primarily because they're not generally users of the site. It leaves sellers feeling helpless and frustrated. You've also got the buyer-centric ecosystem. It exists on most, if not all, of the platforms. It's a widely held belief that the customer, the buyer, is always right, especially on eBay. The money-back guarantee there often trumps any no-return policies you as a seller might have, and when a dispute escalates, sellers report eBay siding with the buyer nearly 100% of the time, often resulting in the buyer getting to keep the item and getting a full refund on top of it. Talk about stress-inducing. Even if you present evidence that a buyer is being dishonest, the site may rule in their favor anyway, and the feedback systems, they're mostly irretrievably broken. Buyers can leave negative feedback for reasons outside your control, like shipping delays, or make personal attacks in feedback that often aren't removed despite violating clear policies. This imbalance, where sellers additionally can't leave negative feedback, or in many cases, any feedback, creates a huge power disparity. It's a constant psychological burden of perceived injustices, which further compounds your stress. So how do we fight back against this stress? I'm going to share a few thoughts, many of which I've talked about on previous episodes, and it starts with some strategic adaptation and striving for operational excellence. First, optimize your listings and your fulfillment process. Create accurate and informative listings with plenty of great photos that clearly show any flaws. Use all 80 characters if you can in your titles, and give detailed item descriptions, and then provide as many of the dreaded item specifics as you can if you happen to be selling on eBay. Doing these things can not only help get your item found and sold, but can set the customer expectation right up front, which can reduce later issues. It also can potentially give you the added proof you need to combat a potential problem with the platform. Additionally, a potential scammer may avoid a well-crafted, professional-looking listing, guessing that that person knows what they're doing, and they'll look for the sloppy listing that looks like a person that they may be able to pull one over on. It's why scammers prey on new sellers to begin with. Limit your exposure by presenting your items as professionally as possible. Another thing you can do is clearly state your return policy and consider offering 30-day free returns to lower your stress level. Stay with me on this one. It may sound counterintuitive. Many sellers don't want to take returns at all, but let me explain. Setting a 30-day return policy and just mentally accepting that there are going to be some returns can reduce your stress level when presented with that inevitable return situation. You've anticipated and prepared for it, and in doing so, it naturally reduces your stress when it happens. Additionally, it avoids having the stress of having to fight the site when they try to override your no return policy as well. Why be stressed about both a return and a fight with the site over it if, for instance, you can just get yourself into the mental place where returns are part of doing business? eBay, for their part, even incentivizes offering free returns, so it can be a win-win. It's certainly something to think about if you find yourself particularly stressed over returns. Next, be realistic with your handling times. Aim for short ones to avoid giving a buyer a reason to be upset right from the start because it took you forever to ship their item. Securely pack your items to prevent damage, which sounds like a no-brainer, but we've all seen some really bad packaging jobs. Take the time to do this well and help reduce returns to start with. Next, leverage the platform's own features for some enhanced control. If you're on eBay, consider the use of promoted listings to increase your item's exposure. If you have an eBay store, use the seller hubs and promotions for discounts and coupons. The best offer feature can be automated to save time. Every site offers you some sort of tools, some paid and some free, to help you boost your business. Why? I had a boss many years ago that told me that strong sales cures a lot of problems. And if you can strategically use the tools on the site to increase your sales, that will immediately improve your mood because who doesn't love some extra sales? And those extra sales will help you get some cushion for the additional financial burden you may face if you do some of the other changes that I talked about, like taking returns, making them even less stressful. Strive for top rated status or star seller status if you're on Etsy or whatever your site offers. These often offer extra seller support. They're not perfect by any stretch, but it's definitely better than trying to fight with them if you're a below standard seller. Do things right so you make it harder for these sites to go against you. Take every advantage you can. Won't always work, but knowing you've done your best can again help reduce your stress. Try to come into these situations with the mindset right up front that the site is most likely not going to side with you to begin with. So your expectations are exceeded. If they do, and you've mentally accepted already a suboptimal outcome, taking some of the sting out of it. Mastering customer interactions is key. Respond to buyer issues as quickly as possible and always be polite and professional. If you get an angry email, wait before responding to calm down if you need to. When a return is requested, it's often best, as I mentioned, to just go ahead and accept it, even if you have a no returns policy, because as we discussed, the site, particularly eBay, is probably going to override it and force the return anyway, or worse. So reduce your stress and just don't pick that fight. It's just part of doing business. Even Amazon and Walmart take returns. Another critical mindset shift that you might try is to realize that difficult buyers are literally strangers you'll likely never interact with again, or definitely never interact with again if you use eBay's blocking tool, for instance. It's important to learn not to become upset or take things personally. Your buyer doesn't know if you're the biggest seller on eBay or making your first sale, and they probably really don't care anyway. It's not personal, it's business. Try to remember to separate the two. I know that's not easy, but it will definitely help. Again, these stressors pile up, and finding a way to mentally eliminate some of them leaves you some headroom for the ones you can't. For negative feedback, reply in a calm way, again, with just the facts. Avoid defensiveness. Don't get into a tit for tat round of personal attacks. And remember, other potential buyers may be looking at how you dealt with that issue before deciding to buy from you. Riling yourself up to post that wicked response only serves to amp up your stress. And for consistently annoying behavior, as I said, don't hesitate to block people. I was just looking at my block list the other day, and it has gotten huge. Whether you're a high volume seller or doing this part time while working a traditional job, streamlining your operations is vital. Implement a structured daily and/or weekly schedule. Prioritize order fulfillment first, since that's where the money comes in. Break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable ones. Effective inventory management, including pausing new acquisitions and organizing stock when needed, is crucial. You can't sell what you can't find. Get a plan in place to track your items, locations, where you put them, so you don't stress yourself out over an item that you can't find. There's nothing worse. Make a plan for what you need to do daily, weekly, monthly, and know what you're working toward. Then set realistic goals that you can manage. There's no point adding to your stress by biting off more than you can chew. As for those pesky tech glitches, rely on community-sourced workarounds. Sometimes a simple thing like clearing your browser cache or logging out, logging back in can fix what ails you. Check on Reddit or your reselling Facebook groups to see if others are having that same issue and can suggest a workaround. And sometimes we have to just take a deep breath and remember that 50 years ago, all of this that we're doing would have looked like magic anyway. So if there's a small issue that delays us for a little bit, it'll probably be all right soon enough. Take that momentary delay as an opportunity to check something else off your list. Use it, and view it as an opportunity, not a setback. Beyond business strategies, your personal well-being is paramount. First, prioritize your mental and physical health. Too few people actually do this. The two work hand in hand and have a massive impact on your ability to cope with outside stress. If you're tired or you're hungry or just mentally fried from other issues, everything that happens next seems so much worse. Actively identify the things that cause you stress, whether it's return requests or performance metrics, and think about the tools that we've already talked about that might help you with that. Schedule regular breaks. They're crucial to maintaining a healthy work life balance and prevent decision fatigue. It's all too easy to spend literal hours at your photo booth or on the computer doing work, and the longer you do so without taking a break, the less productive and the more stressed you'll become. As an example, my routine is that I know if I do more than 10 or 15 listings at a time, I start to get stressed. So I do that 10 or 15, I do a cross list, and then I take a break. I grab a coffee, I go play with the dog. I just remove myself from that grind and get fresh. Remember, we're working by ourselves mostly, so we're not getting that break from a coworker stopping by to chat. We have to create those breaks ourselves, even put them on our planners if we need to. Prioritize adequate sleep, aiming for 7 to 8 hours as it impacts your cognitive function and emotional regulation. Conscious, healthy eating habits are also vital for energy and mental clarity. Exercise and physical activity or hobbies outside of work can provide a much needed mental reset, all of which ties into your mental health and resilience. This applies to everyone, whether you're a reseller or not, to be fair, but it's so important I didn't want to not mention it, even if it feels obvious. Your health, mental and physical, is the foundation for keeping your cool when things inevitably go sideways. This is one I talk about all the time on this show. Define your personal version of what is success. What does it look like? What does it mean to you? Instead of chasing someone else's idea that might be a huge warehouse and employees, define your own why for reselling. I've said before, in my case, I'm not trying to scale to a 7-figure operation with a bunch of employees. I got into this, as I said in a recent video, to reclaim my time, not just to cash in. And the decisions I make about my business align with that goal. Here's an example I've talked about previously about what I mean. As a bookseller, from a pure business standpoint, I should absolutely be selling on Amazon, but I don't. Many, if not most, booksellers would probably call me crazy or worse. But when I look at what would be required from me mentally and from a workload standpoint to succeed on Amazon, it simply doesn't align with my overarching goal to own my time and reduce my stress. So I've made the decision not to sell over there. I realize I'm leaving plenty of money on the table, and I'm okay with that. We have to make the decisions that work for us holistically, not just chase what someone else might define as the right way to do something. Whether it's extra income for a fun side hustle or a desire to make it a multi-million-dollar venture, align your business goals with the personal and know when to say no when the stress becomes unmanageable. Be prepared to walk away for a while to take care of your mental health. I've done this on this YouTube channel pretty much once a year. I'll take a week or two away to refocus and then come back with my thoughts realigned and ready to go. You have to do those things for yourself to reduce your stress. Finally, embrace community and seek external support. Talking about our anxieties or problems with others can be profoundly helpful. Engage with your platform's official forums and external platforms like Reddit, Facebook groups, or even here on YouTube. These communities offer tips, workarounds, emotional support through shared experiences. Again, we're not getting that office camaraderie that a traditional job might have. That's why I value the weekly YouTube Live I do on this channel and the other ones that I get to attend. We get to share within our community our frustrations, our successes, and just get some support that sometimes our non-reseller friends and family simply can't offer us. Just be mindful to seek out constructive conversations and avoid a lot of negativity. It's too easy to go down the rabbit hole of people complaining about how awful things are because it feels good to find common cause and share those frustrations. And a good gripe session, obviously, can be really a great stress reliever once in a while. But if it becomes your go-to form of release, you may find yourself in a negative spiral. That's why in this video, I've tried to give you some actionable tips, not just complain. Here are a couple of bonus tips that apply to stress management generally that you can also try. Avoid unhealthy habits. We already spoke about getting active and eating well, but the reverse is also true. Too much caffeine, alcohol, or smoking can exacerbate your stress, as can a poor diet. Control those things and don't let your stress drive you to do even more of them. Meditation, mindfulness, and prayer can also help bring some much needed quiet and peace, which not only can reduce your immediate stress, but when part of a program can help lighten your overall stress load. Lastly, many people find that keeping a thankfulness or mindfulness journal can be a big help. Jotting down the things that have gone well and things that you're thankful for can help to train your mind to focus on the good and bring some calm to an otherwise stressful time. I actually offer several gratitude journals among some other items that I do have on my Amazon print on demand shop. And there's a link in the show notes if you'd like to take a look. And of course, again, ultimately, if your stress is significantly impacting your daily life, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Managing your stress as a reseller or just generally is a continuous journey, but by integrating strategic business adaptations with dedicated self-care and making those priorities, I believe you can transform challenges into opportunities. A friend of mine recently told me over dinner that one of the things they like most about me is that I can always find the bright side and the opportunity in things. That's not actually a character trait of mine. It's something I have really worked on. That's why I made the recent video about why I think you should consider selling on eBay despite its flaws. The news on these sites can be relentlessly negative, and it was good for me to just remind myself why I'm even here doing this. So optimize your operations, leverage platform tools, master customer interactions, and prioritize your health and well-being. Think about the things that stress you out and what you can do to mitigate them, and then set about on a plan to make it happen. By doing so, you'll not only build a more resilient and profitable reselling business, but also achieve a more balanced and fulfilling life in general. Before we close, what are your top tips for managing stress as a reseller? Please share them in the comments down below. And if you got something from this episode, again, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share it with a fellow reseller who you think might enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, I do a weekly news recap show along with a live show, so come and join the Galaxian family. Thanks as always for watching and sharing your experiences. And until next time, my friends, it's time to sell. You have been listening to the Galaxy CDs Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you again next time.